So I don't know about you, but I do sometimes cry out like Habakkuk in that first reading that Don proclaimed for us. Aren't you listening, God? There is such destruction and violence in our world, such pain and poverty. Why do you let this happen? And why do I have to see it? Can you hear me? And in my saner moments, I hear a voice in reply saying, I don't allow it. You do. Humankind can effect change. There once was a nun who was a midwife, and she taught in a university and practiced her profession at a local inner city hospital. And one night, a young girl came in who was quite sick. And after a checkup, the sister said to her, I've got news for you. You're pregnant. Now, there was no boy or man who would claim to be the father, no real family or support for this girl. So the nun promised the girl that she would be there for her. In the months that passed, the girl came every week for lessons, for learning proper diet, how to care for a pregnant body, and how to prepare for delivery. And finally, the baby came, healthy, strong. And the sister continued to be her mentor, teaching this young mother how to care for this new life. Regular meetings continued for several months, and then the girl disappeared. The nun didn't see her, or she stopped coming. She didn't call. And the nun didn't hear from her again for over 6 years. And one day, the sister received a note from the woman, then in her early 20s. And the note was an apology that read, I'm sorry I waited so long to thank you, but I wanted to surprise you. I wanted to be like you, since you were someone so good and loving. And inside the note was an invitation to the young woman's graduation as a licensed practitioner nurse. Somehow stronger than all the threat of violence and all the seductive nature of the bad in our society, somehow stronger was the gift and promise of a person's witness. A witness by this nun for this girl. A true story that says to us, we can and do make a difference. Faith is what we need. The hope that comes from believing in something bigger than all the bad. And not a God who controls from up in the sky somewhere, but a God who lives and breathes and moves in us and with us. And with that spirit within, we are bigger than all the bad. Today is Respect Life Sunday, beginning this sort of Respect Life month of October. A day when throughout the nation, our Catholic parishes pray for a greater respect for all life, from conception until natural death, and all that time in between. That's a challenge at times. The apostles asked the Lord in today's gospel, increase our faith. And Jesus' answer speaks loud and clear. If you want a stronger faith, you have to do more than your duty. We have to practice our faith more than an hour each week here, but throughout all the week by living with a true sacredness for all life. For when we live that way, we take note of how we are treating our own bodies, how we treat others, how we treat our unborn, our elderly, our sick, our dying, our immigrants, the many who starve in our world, the imprisoned, and how really we treat all creation that is meant to sustain us. Respecting life means that we look at these issues and refuse to choose death as an answer. Whether it be for an unborn child or a convict on death row. Whether it be for a dying loved one or the homeless alcoholic. We choose life because our faith calls us to that. And when we act on our faith, besides just professing it, when we come here to celebrate, we are strengthened by the word and by the beautiful food of Christ, not for ourselves alone, but for the life of the world. By our voice and our actions, we can shelter others. And like that sister in the story, stand with life and change lives forever. That's the vision, ultimately, that Habakkuk references as that reading concluded. For the vision still has its time. Press on to fulfillment, and it will not disappoint. If it delays, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not